Greetings, StatsFolk, and welcome back to Foghorn, where I read things so you don't have to. It's update week, so we're looking in this episode at update 089, which brings early access to the new Italian cruiser line, this year's Halloween event, and more. Let's get started.
All on the bowling, Kitty is my darling. All on the bowling, bowling hall.
Update 089 is coming this week. It hits CIS and NA on Wednesday the 16th and SEA and EU servers on Thursday the 17th. 089 brings the now familiar format for the release of a new tech tree line, and this time it's the turn of the Italian cruisers. Across 089 and 10, the whole line will be released with tiers 5 to 8 available this update from missions dropped from free and premium containers. A new section will appear in the armory, allowing players to spend the new temporary Italian tokens currency on items such as signals, credits, consumable and permanent camouflages, and also bundles, which have a chance of awarding the new premium Tier 5 Italian heavy cruiser Genova. As always, my advice for early release ships is try to get them in the game by completing the missions and directives to get the free containers, but don't worry if you don't get any. Remember, the ships will be released as a full 10 tier tech tree in update 0810 and will be available then for free. If you do want to get them 4 weeks early though, the premium event containers have an increased chance of dropping the missions, and you might see community contributors running those giveaways for the premium containers too, so keep your eyes open. Just a quick note for newer players, and a bit of feedback for wargaming. The directives area in the port isn't obvious. In most updates it looks like a non-interactive image banner in the top left hand corner of the port interface, but it's actually a button that takes you to the directive screen and lets you see the missions. I see lots of people in Twitch chat saying that they didn't realise that that's what that was, so I thought I'd mention it in case that helps someone. Please wargaming, make it more obvious. So what are the Italian cruisers all about? I've tested all of them over the past month or so, and their main characteristics are that they're fast, they have relatively small turning circles and reasonably fast rudders, so they're quite agile. However, they need to be agile because their armour schemes mean that you should definitely dodge incoming battleship shells if you have time. Their concealments aren't great, their gun ranges are a little short, and they have long reload times. To compensate for this, these cruisers at mid and high tiers have a new mechanic, fuel smoke. These cruisers can generate a smoke screen which will help conceal the ship while it's travelling at full speed. The smoke is only short duration, around 40 seconds, but just enough to cover up evasive manoeuvres. While you could use the smoke aggressively, the main use will definitely be to make a full turn, drop torpedoes and run away when you overextend. One thing to bear in mind with these smoke screens is that these ships from tier 6 upwards have 8-inch or larger guns, and so have a large smoke firing bloom radii. If you're going to use the smoke, be careful that there's not a destroyer lurking somewhere nearby which will keep you spotted if you fired in the last 20 seconds. If you're not sure, stop firing 15 to 20 seconds before you use the smoke and turn. Also, bear in mind the change to spotting mechanics in this update. More on that later. The other main characteristic of Italian cruisers is that they have a new shell type, semi-armour piercing or SAP. SAP shells are a mixture of HE and AP in terms of their mechanics and performance. Like AP, they can ricochet off angled armour plating, but if they don't bounce, the penetration mechanics are like HE. The shells have a fixed penetration depth, and will penetrate any armour thinner than that value if they haven't bounced. SAP shells have more penetrating power than HE, but generally can't reach the citadel of target ships. However, the damage they deal through normal penetrations is quite high, and you can expect consistent damage from SAP shell hits. SAP cannot overpenetrate and cannot set fires. SAP is best used against broadsiding targets, but will be effective against destroyers and even angled cruisers. When shooting battleships, it's best to aim at their superstructure, nose or stern, as you won't penetrate the armour belt of most battleships. Halloween 2019 will soon be upon us, and it's become tradition there will be a celebration in the game during the autumn update. This year, there are 2 components, operations and a new game mode. The operations from previous years, Saving Transylvania and Sunray in the Darkness, will both return, but this time with a new super hard difficulty level. The normal level of difficulty of each operation will alternate as operation of the week. If you want to try the hard or super hard versions, you'll need to find a division to play with. If you're not in a clan, I suggest joining a community Discord server and asking if anyone would like to play. You could also use the in-game Find a Division function. The rewards for completing the super hard difficulty versions include premium Halloween 2018 containers for getting 3 stars or above, so it's well worth the effort putting a team together, as those containers can drop permanent ship skins. The other half of the event is a new game mode, Raid for the Filth. The Filth is a new temporary currency which you can earn directly by playing the new game mode. The mode combines elements from Operations, Arms Race and Rogue Wave into a frantic race to see which of the 3 teams of 3 players can collect enough filth while battling each other and an army of bot ships, before escaping through a portal at the centre of the map. There are no winning or losing teams in this mode. The objective is to stay for as long as you dare and escape with as much filth as you can. The longer you stay, the more danger you're in, and the risk that you will not escape grows. If you don't make it out, you only get a small fraction of the filth you collected. The mode includes a miniature tech tree of tier 9 and 10 ships, destroyers, cruisers and battleships to research and use. As is traditional, these ships have some crazy special abilities like immunity and healing shells, so don't be surprised if one of your teammates starts shooting you. Raid for the Filth is a lot of fun, so give it a go. It runs from the 31st of October until the 28th of November. The 7th season of Clan Battles arrives on October the 23rd, which is next Wednesday, and it takes the form of 8 versus 8 battles at tier 10 with up to 2 battleships and no carriers. You may have heard that carriers are coming to Clan Battles, but that's a mixed message. There will be a test session to study the effect of carrier spotting on Clan Battle gameplay, but it's not related to this Clan Battle season. Watch the news portal for your region for more information on this Clan Battle season in the next few days. If you've been playing the game for more than a few months, you may remember that Wargaming fixed a bug in the spotting system where ships firing bloom counters would reset to 0 if they didn't have line of sight to an enemy ship within their firing radius. The trouble is, everyone thought that was how it was supposed to work, and almost everyone liked the way it worked with the bug. So, Wargaming are putting the bug back in again, but this time as an intended mechanic. Destroyer players rejoice, we've waited for this change back for a long time. Once update 089 hits, your 20-second bloom time will end if you duck into cover or go behind a smoke screen and no enemies can see you directly. This means that unlike now, if you come out again within your 20-second bloom time, you'll have your normal minimum concealment back again. For destroyers with their small concealments, this is a fairly major advantage. Let me quickly run through a handful of other changes this update brings. Błyskawica is getting a slight buff. Its reload time is down to 6 seconds from 6.5. Hosho is having its frankly ridiculous new double torpedoes nerfed considerably. The speed of the torpedoes is going down to 40 knots from 50, and the speed of the returning bombers has been reduced by a massive 40%, so hopefully that'll balance things out a bit without changing the feel of Hosho gameplay. The low-tier French destroyers are all seeing a bit of a nerf to their gun reload times and a speed decrease on their torpedoes. They were overperforming, and this should bring them in line with the older destroyers at those tiers. Tier 8 Soviet battleship Vladivostok was also overperforming, and her Sigma is being changed from 1.7 to 1.6, meaning her shells will be less likely to group towards the middle of her dispersion ellipse. This change will be most noticeable at long ranges. Kremlin has been widely regarded by the player base as too strong, and it's also getting some nerfs. The shell damage is being lowered slightly on both AP and HE shells, and also the fire chance on HE is down slightly. I'm not convinced that will be enough, but I'm in favour of small, gradual tweaks rather than sledgehammer changes. The audio update made in 088 was partially successful, but it did have a lot of issues, and this update will hopefully address a lot of those outstanding problems. Bear in mind that the volume sliders are more complex than they appear, so go and find my Foghorn Express about the audio issues for more detail on what the volume sliders in your settings actually do. There's a new port ship filter for special ships. These include rentals, event ships such as Halloween, and early access ships. This separates them from the normal premium ships which have increased profitability to help you tell them apart. The way camouflages and skins work when disabled in port is changing. Now, if you disable, say, sci-fi skins in port, you will no longer see naked ships in battle. You'll see either the permanent premium camouflage for that ship, or simply Type 5 camo. When you see someone with no camo, you can now be certain that they are actually naked before you smugly point this out in chat. One last improvement I want to call out, the previously premium-only naval base port will now be available to all. It's a really good looking port which places your ships in a dry dock for a different perspective. If you don't like the look of the gorgeous new Italian Taranto port, switch to naval base from the top left of your port just next to the battle button and see what you think. One last thing before I go, this weekend is the culmination of the 9th King of the Sea tournament. Just 8 teams remain from each server, and I'll be casting the semi-finals and finals of the EU tournament this Saturday, starting around 4 PM CEST, and then the cross-server clash against NA starting around 6 PM CST on Sunday. My co-caster will be TC Freya, and you can find us at twitch.tv/StatsBloke and /TC Freya respectively. Come along and join us for some world-class Warships competitive play. That's all from this Foghorn, so please do subscribe for more and ring that bell to be notified of future episodes. If you like this video, you can press that thumbs up, and by all means leave a question below if you have any. Join the StatsBloke Discord via the link in the description, where you can find helpful, like-minded people to discuss the game with. Take care, and I'll speak to you very soon.